Hello, everyone. I want to welcome you all to my March Psychic Hour. I can't believe how fast the time has been going. Is it amazing? I know I feel absolutely numb with how quickly things seem to be passing right now. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in tonight's session. Meanwhile, though, I do have some announcements for you guys as we get started. I want you to please make a note that our down here on the left-hand corner of the chart that you see on your PowerPoint, our next psychic hour is going to be April 23rd. So put it on your calendar so that you don't miss that one either. And the earlier you get registered for them, the more likelihood is that you're going to be able to fit on the calls. Believe it or not, GoToMeeting has increased the number of people I can have on here. So your chances of getting on are a lot better, you know, so I'm very, very pleased and very happy about that. Moving around towards the right-hand side of the chart, you see that the next coaching call for my VIPs, and I know a lot of you, I'm looking at your names here, a lot of you are in my VIP membership. And so if you are, please make a note that your next coaching call is coming up in April too. We only have 4 of those a year right now. So the next one is, or 3 is it? No, yeah, 4. So the next one is going to be April 13th, 2023. So make a note of that. You're not going to want to miss it because I know you store up your questions for me, and that VIP membership is so full of classes and activity. I know you have tons and tons of things you want to talk about. So make sure you're on there with me. There's a lot going to be happening, obviously, in April. It's a really important month. There's a lot going on. If you missed my What's Happening in 2023 webinar that I did last December, my friends, that is still, the information in there is still valuable. So if it interests you, if you want to have a little more peace of mind relative to what's going on in our world right now, that webinar is still for sale on my website. It's $25. As you wait towards the end of the year, it's going to come down in price, so you might want to wait. But if you want to know what's going on right now, I did make predictions for that. And so you may really, like I said, find some peace of mind by making an investment in that program. I have an open forum, my friends. It's a wonderful, wonderful forum on my website. I know you probably already took a look at this, but here's my website. Okay, if you haven't been there, please go over to the website as soon as you get finished with tonight's session and sign up for my email. When you sign up for my free monthly newsletter, you're going to get the newsletter in the mail automatically, but you're also going to have access to all kinds of free things on my website. And everything that you might want to purchase that I talk about here is right here on this front page, so it's easy to navigate. Plus, I've got all these great tabs up on top. And one of the things that you get automatically when you register for the newsletter, you see where it says My Library? Well, when you click on My Library, as soon as you register for the newsletter, as soon as you're set up for that, you automatically are going to have in your library this page, which is your open community. And so you get a community of people who are, all of you, for example, who are present on this call tonight, where you can get together all month long and talk. You can talk about what happened in tonight's session. Here's Tracy Klug, who's talking about when she read her tarot book, and she's got some questions on it. And there's somebody else who's offering free readings here. So you can go right on to this open community and you get to talk to people and share your stories. Somebody else on here is actually sharing, let's see, yep, Abelina, and she's from the United Kingdom. She's sharing Wake Up and Dream. So she's sharing a precognitive dream that she has. So there's a lot of interesting things happening here. The thing is, it gives you a safe place to go and communicate with each other. So if you want to sign up for my monthly newsletter, you're going to automatically get access to that community. Plus, you get the newsletter in your email once a month. And you get to post in that open forum as much as you want, and it is private. Nobody outside of our community gets to see that. And Lisa and I do both monitor it, so nobody gets out of line there either. It's really, for real, a good place to post your thoughts and to play practice and to experiment with things, share what your experiences are. It's for you. We also have and I know I tell you about this all the time, but please don't forget that we do have the app. And if you download that app, it's a great way to listen to these sessions, the psychic hours, and you can also listen to everything that's in your library that's from my website in your app. So the app is a really good thing to have. And you know, the only way you're ever going to lose the app is if the entire internet goes down. But even if the Kajabi website that I have goes down, you would still have access to the website through the app. So the app is a good thing to have in your toolbox. Okay, one last thing, and then I'm going to jump into tonight's session. I have some specials that are still going on for another 4 days, you know, or 5 days until we're right at the end of March here. My March specials, the reading and coaching special for this month is Finding Your Right Path. And I offered that at a you know, my normal price, but it is not the normal reading. When you purchase my March reading coaching special, you can get my Psychic Protection Tips MP4 also at half price. So that's still available. The Finding Your Right Path, if you're confused right now about anything going on in your life, this is a great special reading to get. 4 days left to register for that. And my other special was getting my Beginner's Tarot MP4 video course for 30% off. Folks, I've never run that special, this good a special on that class before. And if you're interested in studying the tarot, I work with them, right? Every single month you see me working with them. If you're interested in studying the tarot with me, there's nothing better out there. It is in video. It's easy to learn from. If you're a visual learner like I am, there it is, all on the board. And there's also the tarot workbook that I wrote that is available for purchase on Amazon. You automatically get that in with your download on that MP4, which comes in your library. So it's very handy. You can access it on the app. Now, something nifty about this, coming up in April, I have more specials, obviously. That starts April 1st. And these specials are actually on my website right now. My webmaster kind of beat me to the gun. So if you want to register for them, you can sneak in and still get them right away. The reading and coaching special that I'm offering this month is about your best path to financial security, recovery, and success. And where everybody else right now is raising their prices, folks, I'm lowering my price on this reading. It's $50 off of my regular reading price, so you can have that reading for only $250, but you've got to order it sometime during the month of April to be able to get this reading. And it's this specific one. So it's all about your finances, your path to recovery financially, and also success. And yes, it's going to look at your personal finances, your personal world, as well as interrelating it to what's going on out there in that greater world around us. Now, my second special for the month of April follows right on the heels of my March special because it's about the tarot. The beginner's level tarot is, instead of being 30% off, which for 4 more days, the March special is still your best deal. 30% off is still your best deal. So if you're interested in tarot, get it within the next 4 days. If you miss that, you can get it for $50 off anywhere between April 1st and 30th. And this is the really big one I'm offering in April. If you've already purchased the beginner level tarot, you can get the advanced level for $50 off all through April. So basically, I'm reducing both my beginner level tarot and my advanced level tarot. And you might say, well, Sandy, why are you doing that? Number one, I love the tarot cards. It's something everybody can learn to pick up and do easily. And folks, right now, everybody in our world needs counseling, coaching, and help. And whether you want to help the people in your family or your friends, you can work with the tarot cards to get answers, to get understanding and insight. So it's a really great tool to work with to help other people. And if you really put yourself into it and do the work, you can actually use the tarot to make enough money on the side to be able to help to pay those grocery bills. So it's a really good tool to have in your, I call it your toolbox, okay? Okay, let's get on with tonight's session. We're here to do psychic readings. This is, after all, my psychic hour. And here's how it goes. I always tell people, if you are here live and you stay until the end of the hour, well, you've dedicated your time to me just as I'm dedicating it to you. My gift to you in return is going to be that if I didn't get a chance to give you a little short reading tonight, directly, one-on-one, online live, you get to send me one simple question, okay? And that question has to ask, it has to reach me before 9 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow evening. You can either send it to lisasainc@aol.com, that's my assistant's email, or you can send it to the email that's on the page you registered for to get on this webinar. Either way, I'm going to receive it. And please give me about 2 weeks to respond, because I do get a whole lot of questions, and depending on how busy I am with other things as well, will make a difference as to how quickly I can get to them. But I do get to every single question. So if you're here and you stay until the end, your question will be answered. Now, here's another way that your question is going to be answered. Please do pay attention to when I'm answering the questions of all the other people who do get called on, because my guides know who you are and they know you're here. And they have a way, while I'm answering a question for one person, they have a way of answering your question at the same time, and you'll see how they do that. But if you listen, you're going to find a lot of the answers you're looking for tonight embedded in the readings I'm giving for these other people. So do pay attention. The chart that you're seeing here on the board is called, or on the PowerPoint, is called a horary chart. This is a throwaway chart. I cast it for 9 p.m. my time because I'm the one who's doing these readings. And it is your chart for this next hour. And everyone who's here is in this chart. I can find all of you. And so I can, using this chart, my guides who are astrologers can answer all of your questions. At the end of the hour, this chart gets thrown away because this isn't really your birth chart. It's a horary chart, and it's based on horary astrology, which is a real, true segment of astrology, and you get to see how well it works during the psychic hour. So I'll be working with the astrology chart, and I'm also going to work with tarot cards, and of course my guides channel information through me. So I see things floating in the air, and I hear your thoughts and your feelings at the same time. And yes, every once in a while, one of your dead people comes through if they're one of your guides, because I'm not someone who talks to the random dead person. I talk to your guides, okay? Okay, here's what you need to know when Lisa calls on you, or if you send your question to me through the email. I want to know your first name. I want to know where you're calling from. That's always fun. I want to know your sun sign. And armed with your sun sign, I can find you in this horary chart. Then I want to know what you're grateful for right now in your life. That's so important. Gratitude is something which helps to move us positively through our life plan. So I want to know what you're grateful for. And then last, I want to know your specific question. Lisa, who's our first caller?
Well, first, before I call on someone, and you probably said this, but they need to raise their little hand icon if they want a chance to be called on tonight.
No, I think I missed that. Okay.
And that's my guides kicking in. Okay, our first call victim, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Tonight is going to be Dawn. Dawn, can you unmute yourself?
Hello. Hi, Sandy. Hi,
Hi.
everybody. My name is Dawn, and I'm from Austin, and I'm a Scorpio, and I'm grateful to be new grandparents in the next, who knows, but it's supposed to be April and May. By both of our daughters are pregnant.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so
Oh, it's so exciting. I
it's
think it's going to be May. I think they're going to keep you waiting. You can come
oh,
back and let me know though. Okay. Oh, I'm
wow.
so
Yeah,
excited. And are they
two
expecting a girl and a boy?
two girls, and I already know their names, Paloma and Eleanor.
Okay, I'm getting a girl and a boy. Okay, so now that doesn't mean that the
Mhm.
diagnosis, the ultrasound was incorrect, but it does mean that one of those little girls is really going to keep her mommy running because and I'm not saying she's going to be gay or that she's going to be one of these weird things that are going out there with people, sex changes and all that. She's just going to have that rough and ready character that you associate with little boys. So one of them is going to be uh, and a daddy's girl too.
Wow,
Okay.
wow,
I
that's
suspect,
exciting.
now, do you have a son and a daughter? Is that,
I
or,
have two daughters and one son.
okay. And the ones who are pregnant are the two daughters?
Yes.
Okay. Um, because they're saying, yeah, it's the daughter, but you got both daughters. Is your son also thinking about getting pregnant? Not him, but his wife or his
Not,
girlfriend?
I mean, we've been thinking they are, but they're not saying that to us.
You're
That's
right. Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, I think that I think they're, this, oh, pardon me, but this has to do with that male ego. They're working on it, and you're not going to know about it until it happens. Okay.
That's the best news I got all day. So
But they're telling my guides are telling me that the rough and ready little girl baby is going to be born to your daughter, and so of course I'm going to ask you, and this is very personal. You don't have to answer publicly, but is one of your two girls the one you consider to be your daughter, and the other one may be closer to her father? That'll tell you which one's going to have the tomboy.
the tomboy would go to the one that's closer to my husband.
No,
Oh, the
that's closer to you.
opposite. Okay, okay. That actually
Okay.
makes sense, Andy.
And by the way, both of them, it looks to me like you've got a wonderful family. So there's a lot of gratitude, not just for being the new grandparents, but also for having this wonderful family around you. You've got to, my guys are just showing me these really, they're close to you. They're honest. They're dedicated. They're going to be great parents. You've got a nice family. So that's always something to be grateful for. Okay. Especially.
I couldn't really ask for anything else that you would say tonight.
Yeah, good. Well, that makes me feel good. And here, of course, I'm going to look at the chart now. Here's your horary chart. And, you know, Libra, which is the sign of relationships, is on the cusp of the house that holds almost all of your sign. They're only 30 degrees in a sign. So almost, and the second house cusp is 23 degrees. So almost all of your sun sign is in this first house. So, you're at a time right now in your life where I think maybe your husband's going through a lot of changes. That's because Uranus and Venus are up here in the house of relationship, Libra rising. And you're kind of having to react to the changes going on in the family, the changes with your daughters. And right now, it's more important than it has ever been for you to find your center, for you to pay attention to yourself and your needs, and not let those things go while you're busy catering to everybody else's. You follow?
Yes.
That's coming up really loud and strong. And it's hard for you to do that. This chart, if you're a fixed sign, folks, you're a Scorpio, a Taurus, an Aquarius, or a Leo. All the things I'm about to say pertain to you. So please pay close attention. This is important stuff. There are so many changes going on with every one-on-one relationship that you have. And there are also changes going on in the greater world that even if they may not be affecting you directly, they're affecting people that you have these one-on-one relationships with. And it feels like everything everywhere and everybody everywhere is going through some kind of a crisis. Okay. Now, what's interesting about this is if you're a Scorpio, a Taurus, or an Aquarian, there is this tremendous ability to be seen in the world. If you're still working, it's a great time to further your career through whatever you do, or to make that career change you've been thinking about. So in the midst of all this change and craziness, you have the ability to really step forward if you're paying attention to yourself and your own needs. And the hard part here is you tend to always put everybody else first and always be trying to fix things for everybody else and gather them together and get them all on the right track. The thing is, if you're putting all of your focus into everybody else and into your home and family, which granted is wonderful and feels good, you're going to not see those opportunities that are coming along that can help to advance your own dreams and your own desires. Okay, so yes, you want to be with the family, and yes, you want to take care of everybody else's needs, and you want to be all things to all people because you fixed signs are like that, but you must pay attention to yourself and your own needs too. While I'm talking about the fixed signs, I've got to tell you this. Today, actually 2 days ago on the 24th, Pluto entered Aquarius. You'll notice Aquarius, see my cursor? It's a fixed sign. So Pluto in Aquarius is going to have a major life-changing, transformative effect on you if your sun, your moon, your ascendant, those major points in your chart are in Scorpio, Aquarius, Taurus, or Leo. Now, this is why what I'm about to say is so important. It's in my newsletter too, if you read it. Between the 24th of March and June 2nd, it's imperative that you keep a journal of all the things that stand out as being somehow different or out of sync with what you normally and usually do. Because that journal is it's not just going to give you insight into next week. It's going to be a movie trailer into your next 20 years. This is important stuff. Keep your journal, folks. Make a point to put an entry into it every single day. Even if all you have to do is answer, today was a very good day, but put something in there every single day, something that stands out in your mind. And 18 years from now, when you look at that journal, you're going to be so glad that you did, because it's going to give you enough foreknowledge to be ready in your life for what's coming next. Now, what's going to happen after June 2nd is that Pluto's going to retrograde back into Capricorn for last licks, and it will not move forward to affect Aquarius directly again until the beginning of 2024. So guess what? We're going to lose that window. Once it moves back into it's going to retrograde all summer long, bringing back to us all the stuff over the last 20 years, all the political, economic, all the things we're dealing with right now that we're finally feeling we're coming clear with. In the summer, it's all coming back. We have to deal with it. We can't turn our back on it. We have to deal with it. And then next year, we'll finally be free of all that, clingy, garbagey stuff that has been hanging around us for so long. Meanwhile, though, right now is when you really have this enormous opportunity to see your own future and to start setting it up the way you want that next 20 years to go. Right now is the time, not necessarily to take action, but to see it and to start to plan. Okay, what questions do you have, Dawn? Or question? What's your question?
I had a question, but I'm going to let someone else go because you really spoke to me and you said so much. And I just want to say one thing. I stopped the TV and while you were saying all those things to me, after you talked about, how, kind of focusing on yourself, I looked straight ahead and the word deserve is on the TV really big. But, I enjoy helping others and doing things for my kids especially. And but I really appreciate what you said to me. It really hit me. So that's all I have.
And I'm getting all these little chills, Dawn. I think what you just said is one of the things that should be the first entries into your journal.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Andy, thank you.
And Lisa, who's our next caller?
All righty, the second victim tonight is going to be Judith. Judith, can you unmute?
Hi, Sandy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Judith?
I'm okay. Good to see you
Oh,
again.
that I'm okay sounded like it had reservations. It's like, oh, I'm okay, but I'm not really okay.
Boy, can you read me?
Well, I think anybody on the call could. Your voice, you have a beautiful voice and you can communicate so much through your voice, which I think is really perfect. So let's take a look at what's going on for you, Judith. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Pennsylvania. I'm a
Uh-huh.
Capricorn, and I am grateful, of course, for my children and my husband, and I'm grateful that it was warm enough up here today to at least get 20 minutes out in the sun.
I agree with you. I used to live up north. Oh God, it feels like 10 lifetimes ago when I lived on Long Island, and I just actually chewed my fingernails until April finally came along and those little crocuses came up. It was
I
like,
know.
oh my God. So, at any rate, that was a long time ago. But I can understand, Judith, you're just I'm glad you're giving me an opportunity. Our last caller, being a Scorpio, touched off all those fixed signs, which gave me a chance to talk about Pluto moving into an Aquarius and beginning its transformation of all the fixed signs. Well, you as a Capricorn are one of the cardinal signs. Now watch my cursor on the board. And I'm going to find Capricorn first. This is Capricorn on the fourth house cusp, right? You'll recognize the little symbol for it. And it's 25 degrees, only 30 degrees in a sign, remember? So all of Capricorn is in this third house, all about communication and siblings and close friends and talking about things and communicating about things. You have to remember to do that. Capricorns aren't always the best communicators. Sometimes they're really good at communicating about superficial things, but not necessarily the deep, important ones, okay? Now, in addition to Capricorn being a cardinal sign, we have Aries, another cardinal sign over here in the sixth house, house of health. And look at this lineup. The Sun and Chiron, healing planetoid, and Mercury and Jupiter, all in cardinal Aries. And then over here in the ninth house, house of travel and moves and higher education and higher thought, spirituality, we have Mars, which is taking action on all the things that you've been thinking about doing, okay? And then finally, we have Libra, the fourth of the cardinal signs, which is the ascendant. That's kind of leading the way for everything. So guess what? Keep your journal of Pluto moving into Aquarius, because like everybody else, it's going to show you where your next 20 years is going to go for you, because Pluto's in that fourth house relative to home and family, especially. But guess what? It's also going to show you where you're going to get your relief, because you're, as a cardinal sign, just finishing up with the last 20 years of dealing with Pluto. So you could tell everybody how much fun it's been, can't you? Yeah. Okay. Folks, I know I'm making a big deal out of this, but it is a big deal. So please read my newsletter, the editorial from March, and read the editorial from April, because it kind of sums it up. But in brief, when you receive a transit of Pluto, it changes everything. For example, when Pluto's been going through Capricorn, this is where it's been for the last 20 years, approximately. Capricorn rules government, it rules big business, it rules banking, it rules the family organization, like the ruler of the family. It rules the organization of religions, like the Catholic Church, et cetera, et cetera. Now, look at what all those things have gone through over the last 20 years. Look at what they're going through right now. Welcome to Pluto. Pluto takes it apart. And it's been taking apart the lives of individuals too, and kind of reducing them down to what's really important, hasn't it? Okay, so since this is your opportunity to say what you're most grateful for, what has Pluto shown you that's the most important thing in your world that you can be grateful for?
Oh. for finally realizing probably who I am.
Awesome. Wow. And I'm getting a little chills on that. Remember what I said to our last caller about it's all about now finding about you and that you really, yes, you're going to help other people. You're going to do all the things you always did. But in order to do that, you have to take care of yourself first and your own needs first. So one of the big things you've learned is that you cannot, you can't serve everyone else until you have first served yourself, right?
Right.
And then you can reach out and you can fix the world, but you can't do it until you've fixed yourself. So that's huge. That's huge. And if you're an Aries, a Capricorn, a Cancer, or a Libra, boy, oh boy, what she just said is coming home to you right now. Aries is the sign that's born to learn about itself. And through Aries, all of the cardinal signs get a little bit of that energy. And so, Pluto, it gave you everything you thought you wanted to control, and then it let you know that you couldn't control it. You had to control yourself and fix yourself first. And then you could help and guide, but you couldn't really control anything, right?
Right. That's right.
Yep. So what is your specific question?
Well, I had two. One was about my job, if it's the right one for me, and my health. And I might be thinking that the job is affecting my health.
Well, it's interesting. This sounds very conflicting. My guides say this job is definitely affecting your health. So you're right on that. But it's also saying that it is the right job for you and your health. Now, how can it be saying both? Can you shed some light on that?
Well, I just started a new job at the bank mid-October, and everybody who's been there has been there except for one other girl, she's been there almost 6 years. Everybody else has been there for 12 to 30. And being the new girl, I'm feeling
Okay, you just
that they're
explained.
taking advantage of me.
Well, and I don't think they're really taking advantage of you. I'm not in agreement there. But I think that where it's affecting your health is that the stress level is through the roof.
It is, definitely.
And now just shedding a little bit of light on that, folks, nobody here has their head in the sand. You all know that there are banking crises, not just in your neighborhood and in our country, but all over the world right now. And here you are saying, I just got a job in a bank. Okay. So you decided to take, typical Capricorn, you take on, you can take it on, man. Okay. So you decided to take a job in a bank at a time when everybody who works for the bank is afraid that they might not have a job tomorrow. In fact, the bank might not even exist tomorrow. And now, do you think there could be a bigger moment of stress than that? And what's happening, I think, is, I'm going to show you the card I pulled for is it affecting your health? And I pulled the Moon card. And that says most definitely everybody's emotional stress is affecting you. You're empathic, you're super sensitive, and you're also very concerned with doing a good enough job to impress, to be able to make this a decent career. And it's scary. This is really scary, isn't it?
It
But
is.
the first card that I pulled when you said, is this job a good job for me, was this card, which is a 7 of Pentacles. And that says this could be a job that you could do for a very long time, very successfully, work your way up, make a lot of money at, and would be a good job for you without too much, it's right up your alley. You could do very well with it. But you got to get through this time period to get to that point, you see?
Okay.
And my guides are saying, as far as the taking advantage of as concerned, they immediately showed this card when we first started talking. That's the 10 of Wands. And that really talks more about your character than anything else. I don't know if you realize this about yourself, but this is typically Capricorn. So it's not just you. Every Capricorn in the world does this. So do the Aries and the Cancers and the Libras. You automatically take on more than you can handle.
Yes. I'm
And
actually working 2 jobs.
okay. And there's, obviously something has to go, So it's not so much that the bank is taking advantage of you. It's that you say, oh, I can do that, or I'll help with that. Or, you taught me how to do that. I'll take that over tomorrow. And the first thing you know is that you're doing 3 jobs at the bank instead of just your own. And you have a tendency to do that with every place that you work. So remember what I was saying to our last caller? You need to put that oxygen mask on yourself first. And it may be time, not so much to say no, although that's part of it. Mostly for you, you have to not jump in and say, I can.
Okay, you hit the
Just,
nail on the head.
yeah, I mean, how can I blame them for taking advantage of me when I offered?
Yes, you're
Okay?
absolutely right. Thank you.
So quit offering. And some of those things may be the ones that particularly are time consuming or maybe are a little beyond your knowledge at this point. Don't be afraid to say, hey, I'm glad to step in once in a while on this. I know I need to know about this stuff, but I really want to go back to the basics here. So if you don't mind, let somebody else do this today.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you, Sandy, so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're going to do fine, but I really just want to warn you, this whole thing about, you elected to you love to be in the middle of everybody else's stress so you can fix it, Quit trying to fix it because right now there's so much stress where in both jobs, not just the one, both jobs, everybody is stressed out and they're all counting on you to hold it together and hold the fort. At least that's how you feel. And you can't. You have to take care of yourself and your loved ones and your home and your family. And, not that you shouldn't reach out to help if you see something that obviously is easy for you to take care of, but don't get so emotionally involved with this outer world stuff that you get emotionally stressed and stretched as thin as a piano wire, because that's what's been happening to you. And that's when your health suffers.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. By the way, that's where the headaches are coming from.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
you're welcome. Okay, Lisa, who's our next caller?
All righty, caller number 3 tonight is named Lisa. Lisa, you're unmuted.
Hello. I can't hear you yet if you're talking.
You muted yourself, Lisa. Try again.
Yeah.
There
Can
you
you
go.
hear me now?
I can, loud and clear.
Hey, Sandy, I love you.
Well, and I love you too. I love all of you folks. You guys are just great.
You have
Lisa,
been, thank you for being there for many decades and always being available. I am a Gemini and I'm in Florida. What else did I have to ask or
what
answer?
you most grateful for right now in your life?
Having a roof over my head, loving animals, and a loving man next to me and my loving family.
Oh boy, that kind of hits all of it, doesn't it? And today I did something that I've been kind of dreading. My husband and I, we live in the Port Charlotte, Punta Gorda area, which is halfway between Tampa and Fort Myers in Florida. So we're in fact where Hurricane Ian landed. But it's hard, with Hurricane Ian, it was so big, it hit the whole state. So it's like, okay, nobody can really claim, wow, I was the spot. Everybody got zapped. But my husband and I, he's been going down to Sanibel ever since he was a young child, like a toddler. And we always would vacation down there. And Sanibel got hit very, very hard. And I've been avoiding going down there. But one of our favorite restaurants opened up. So earlier today, we took a ride down there and went to the Mucky Duck, which is open and was very, very crowded. But en route, we got to see the devastation of Sanibel. And let me tell you, when you just said you're lucky to have a roof over your head, you said you're in Florida. I really appreciate that, especially after what I saw today, because Sanibel was flattened. That's the only way I can put it. It was just flattened. Every single home that's there has to be rebuilt. Most of them were empty. People who are, living there year round and can't leave have half a house and are rebuilding the rest while they're in it. It's pretty devastating. Whereabouts do you live in Florida?
I'm about an hour north of Tampa in
Okay.
Brooks.
So you caught the edges of the hurricane, and I hope you guys were safe up there and that mostly you've gotten repaired, yes?
Yes, but I do have family down there near Sanibel, Fort Myers, and my oldest daughter's an insurance adjuster, and her husband had to go down there to do a lot of the claim work, and what they said was just devastating.
Yeah, it's hard. It was hard, very hard to see. It'll come back, you know. Living in Port Charlotte, which is also where Hurricane Charlie landed some 20 years ago, 15, I think, 18, something like that. When, you know, Hurricane Charlie was much shorter. It was a 45-minute affair, but it was also much more devastating. It was literally like having bombs dropped. It was like the Blitzkrieg from London landed in Port Charlotte and Punta Gorda. And I mean, I was aware, believe me, I'm aware of that kind of devastation. This is the second hurricane like that I've been through. And it takes a while to come back from that. And it's devastating in the moment, but you do recover. And that's the important thing. And then, of course, I look at, you know, loss of life. There was some loss of life down in Fort Myers and all over the state of Florida. And that's the hardest part. I want to say, just take maybe a moment of silence for those people in the states, Mississippi, Alabama, some of the Carolinas who have been suffering with these tornadoes that have been devastating over the last couple of days. We've got some weird things going on, folks. And the only thing I'm going to tell you, and my guides are saying I can say this, I need to, they're not all natural. Just be aware of that. This is not, God's not doing this. This is man-made stuff. A lot of it is. And we're going to get through it, and we're going to get out the other side. The sun's going to come out. You know, your daughter, who's the insurance adjuster, is going to help to get everything all set up where people come back, and they come back like they've never been through any of this devastation before. It's going to come back better than it was before. My guides have shown me that for years. I've known about all these things that are going on in our world most of my life, but big time since the 1980s. And that's why this over here, what's happening in 2023, if you want to know more about all that stuff, that webinar is available. Go and check it out. And the thing is that we're going to have the golden age that was promised. We just have to hang in there, and we will get through this transition into a new humanity is where we're going. Now I'm going to sound a little off the wall to some of you folks listening, but literally into a higher level of consciousness. The whole planet's being uplifted through all this. And we're encountering the struggle. We're seeing the struggle to get there. So let's talk about Gemini for a moment. We're getting all three of the elements, which I love. Gemini, and it's a mutable sign, and so is Pisces, which is where Saturn is right now. And so is Virgo, which is on the 12th house of this chart. And so is Sagittarius. So there are your mutable signs. Mutable signs, folks, are changeable. They go through these shifts and changes probably better than any of the other signs. They're a little more flexible. Now, that doesn't mean that each, mutable sign is a fully flexible person. I know I'm pretty rigid and fixed, but that's because I have my Mars in Scorpio, and my Jupiter in Taurus, so I can be a little stubborn. But still, my sun sign, like yours being Gemini, makes me easier to deal with the changes and the shifts of life than, say, some of the fixed sign people are, who would be the Scorpios, the Taurians, the Aquarians, and the Leos. And you guys are going to get ready to shift, because remember where Pluto's going. And so you guys have to maybe get a little bit of the flexible spirit that comes with those mutable signs. Meanwhile, if you're a mutable sign right now, you're going to be very concerned about money and finance. And also, since the moon is up here in Gemini in this mutable 8th house, you're really looking at wanting to nurture. The moon is a nurturer, and wanting to emotionally get involved and help at this, family members, community, the people who are your neighbors. You're looking for where you can help not just yourselves, but help other people. These mutable signs, again, Pisces, has Saturn in it. That's on the sign of the child. It's on the sign of good luck. It's the house that deals with games and play and physical activity. And so you mutable signs are looking for, okay, I'm a doer. I don't want to hang around and wait anymore. I want to get out there and do stuff and make it happen. Okay. And so a lot of you mutable signs are feeling very frustrated that everything seems to be either status quo or taking steps backwards when you want to jump in and start to create and make things happen now. So again, I'm going to say keep your journal, because that journal, even if the time for action is not quite yet, that journal is going to show you how you need to act. You're going to be able to set up a game plan. Journal from March 24th through June 2nd. And in the middle of that journal, you have a second journal, which I call my eclipse journal. We have an eclipse at 0 Taurus, fixed sign, that's going to be coming up very soon. That's on April 20th. And we have an eclipse at 14 Scorpio. That's a lunar eclipse that's coming up on May 5th. And so during, I'd say about somewhere around April 10th, you should start, add into your journal that this is a journal within a journal, right? That journal within a journal part, the one that's the eclipse journal, is going to show you your next 6 months. It's specific. So it's going to show you things that are coming up that you have to take action on within the next 6 months. And you should start keeping that journal on April 10th and keep it through until just about May 20th. Okay? And that will give you a good insight into things that are coming up in your life in the next 6 months that you have to take action on. So what is your specific question?
Me and my youngest daughter had a falling out last year, and I have a feeling that, well, I've been told she's been involved with some domestic abuse. I just don't know what I can do because we're not communicating.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you a little story. Sometimes my guides say I'm supposed to share some of Sandy life, okay? We're going back like a lot of years, until way back when I was in my 20s. I won't tell you how long ago that was, okay? And I was married to my first husband, who was in a war with my mother, who incidentally was a Gemini, and they were using me as the ping pong ball, right? And for years, I was in misery and I was sick and I had colitis and I was not happy. And I remember going to a doctor for my colitis. And after about 6 months of treatment that went nowhere, I walked into his office one day and I said, "Hey doc, this is ridiculous. I can't handle any more barium enemas. When are you going to fix me?" And the man, in all of his wisdom, he looked at me and he said, "Hey, look, lady, I'm here to fix your body, not your brain, not your mind, not your emotions." And I said, "Oh my God." I walked out of his office and I swore I'd never go back again, and I didn't. And I said, she's right. He's right. I'm in this. I knew where my problems were coming from. They were coming from nerves and struggle and tension, because I was stuck between my mother, who was trying to protect me, and my husband, who was abusive. Okay. And so I drove straight to my mother's house and I picked a fight with her. And I said, "Mom," I said, "you're right. My husband is a schmuck. But guess what? I'm married to him. And I don't care if he says that the moon is green and that there are little Martians living on it who are going to come and share her bed tomorrow night. I'm going to believe and I'm going to trust. I'm going to side with him no matter what, because he's my husband. And that's the way you raised me, so tough." And I slammed the door and I walked out on my mother. What was so interesting is that almost immediately my colitis went away, because you see, I got off the fence. I was no longer stuck between two people having a war with one another, with me stuck in the middle. So my colitis immediately went away and I felt better. But within 2 years, I had divorced my husband, because he really was a schmuck and he really was abusive. And when she was no longer part of that scenario, I could see it with complete and total clarity, and I could understand that there was no reason to be involved with somebody who had no respect for me and certainly didn't love me or love me the way I needed to be loved. And so I removed myself from that situation. But the whole time, if I had stayed connecting to my mother the way I had been, I would never have gotten out of that marriage because I would never have faced it head on. Now, my guides are telling me to tell you that story for a reason. They don't tell me to share pieces of my life for no reason at all, okay? When they give you that example, I think that might very well be what's going on with your daughter right now. So the fact that you're out of the picture is probably the best thing that you can do for her right now. My only suggestion to you is keep sending the Easter cards and the Christmas cards. Keep letting her know that you love her, even though nothing might come back.
That's funny because I was in the shower today and I was thinking to myself, am I going to send her a birthday card? Should I send her a birthday card? Because she doesn't do anything. She doesn't reciprocate that to me.
Mhm.
So, yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Thank you.
And you know, I've got to tell you, love doesn't require I can't say the word reciprocity. Is that how you say it? Okay. Love doesn't require that. Okay. Love says, I need to express my love for you. Okay. It doesn't mean that you just need her to know you love her, and it doesn't matter how she feels about it. It doesn't matter if she kisses you or calls you. You just need to keep letting her know you love her no matter what.
Amen. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And thanks for letting me share that, because, you know, when things like this come up, I know this isn't just you. There's going to be a lot of people on the call right now who are having these issues with their relatives. And I'm going to go back to the astrology, folks. I sound like I'm beating this dead horse, but when there are so many changes going on astrologically, it produces those changes, not just in the world in general, but in people's lives. And when the stress level in the world mounts, that stress comes out in our interpersonal communications with each other. Husbands and wives who got along beautifully suddenly start fighting. Mothers and daughters who could see eye to eye, things suddenly fall apart. Now, in some families, it pulls you closer together because it's seen as a strife situation. Oh, we're all going to hang together because we need to make it through together. But the thing is that outer tension that we're all feeling, it has to have some effect. And while you're going through this, don't lose who you are. And that's maybe one of the most important things I want to leave with everybody here in tonight's webinar. Don't lose who you are. Stick to, you know, if you love somebody, it doesn't matter what they did to you. You love them, period. That's all that counts, how you feel about them, right? Who's I think probably our last caller that I'm going to be able to have time for tonight, Lisa.
Oh, that was a quick hour.
Yeah, I raced by.
Transfer to Nancy. Nancy, can you unmute yourself? Hello, Nancy.
I could just see her there pressing those buttons.
Nancy, you have to.
No surprise.
There you go.
Hello.
Hello, Nancy.
So, my name is Nancy. I live in Abbotsford, British Columbia, and I'm grateful for everything right now. I'm going through transitions. I just am leaving the dog grooming because anyhow, it's just that time, and it's time to do a new adventure. And I just feel like there's some things holding me back, and I'm not sure why.
Oh, I can tell you about that. Okay. And what's your sign? You may have said it, but I missed it.
Libra.
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 Okay. Look at this. We're going to end tonight's session with another cardinal sign lady. And this is the ascendant. So this is kind of leading us out into our future. That's what the ascendant does. It's the sun coming up, right? The reason why something's holding you back right now, can you mute, by the way, and while I'm talking, because we've got stuff coming back, feedback. Yeah, I'll give you a chance to come in afterwards. Maybe the feedback will be gone. But right now, you would have heard me say this to our, I think it was our first caller, that right now, and probably maybe for the next month, month and a half, this is not a time, although some people will, it's not a time to make big, massive changes. It's a time to observe. It's a time to consolidate. It's a time to really get in touch with yourself and what you really want, and to organize it and to plan it out. And while you're keeping your double journal, your journal within a journal that I just told you about, you're going to get a lot of indicators about things that are coming up in your personal future that very well might be changing how you're going to move forward. So what's holding you back is your inner self knowing that I need to collect a little more information before I make these changes. Okay, so I wouldn't say, oh God, what's holding me back? I would say there are things that I don't know about yet that if I wait maybe a month, month and a half, I'm going to find out that definitely change the way I move forward. So you're in that information gathering stage. That's why it's not that you're being held back. You're gathering information. And by the way, I'm cheating. I'm not just looking at the chart. I'm also looking at the cards. I pulled the High Priestess and she's inverted. And in the Tarot, when the High Priestess is all about secret information, she's a woman as well, okay? And she talks about you. You know, you're the High Priestess here. You're the gal who's very knowledgeable, who has so much to give and so much to share, and who's on her own personal journey with tremendous internal spiritual strength. That's the High Priestess. But inverted, right now, she's feeling kind of uncomfortable, like things aren't right, like there's not a center here where there should be, okay? And what that's all about is that there are secrets that aren't known that could cause harm. And you shouldn't be moving forward until that secret information is known to you. Now, open your mic. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does, because a year ago, I had 2 bad falls, and it was almost like my higher self was telling me to slow down because I was running hard. And then since I think September, my fitness program also changed, and it was like I had to slow right down, I guess because my brain was going so fast, and I can only do yin yoga. And then right now, like you said, I think there's something I'm waiting for, or the answers or something.
Mm-hmm. When you had those, remember, as a Libra, the cardinal, and part of the cardinal signs going on right now is all this Aries stuff that's in the house of health. So let me ask you, when you did that fall, did you hurt your back? Was there a back or a shoulder or a neck injury?
The first fall I had in October was my lower back, and that was a bad fall. And then the second fall, 2 months later, is when we had an ice storm, and I fell off my deck onto my neck. So both my portholes got hit hard.
Okay, and here's the thing though, if you hadn't, this is going to sound a little wacky, but if you hadn't already had the lower back injury, okay, you probably wouldn't have harmed your neck when you slipped on the ice. But what happens, the back is one, I had a serious back injury myself, so I'm talking again from experience here, but when the back is one, the lower spine and the neck are connected. They're one. Okay, you can't have one thrown out without it affecting the other. So what happened is your lower back not being quite right has made your neck and the whole rest of your back potential place for other injuries to occur. So you've really got to exercise the whole thing. I'm going to just share with you again, this is a little Sandy information coming up. I was very, very lucky when I had my back injury, which wasn't dissimilar from yours. My guides are saying you have that lower back you hurt. I don't know if you got, I don't know if the disc shattered or if you had, what do they call it, where the inside stuff bleeds out of the discs, but they're showing that those complications, okay? And when I hurt mine, it was very similar. And I'm lucky my husband said, but I'm lucky. My husband is a paraplegic who recovered. He walks. Technically, he's still a paraplegic, but he walks, and you would never know he was one if you just met him. But because of his experience, when I hurt my back, he was much more aware of what to coach me through. And he went online and he looked up a kind of therapy, which is called VAX, V as in Victor, AX dash therapy. And I'm sure at this point they have it all over the world. And so we sent Sandy for VAX-D therapy, which took a month. Lisa drove me every day, so she remembers this. Every day for a month. It was an hour away, so it was a real commitment to do. It was also not cheap. Today in the United States, insurance will cover it. Back then, it wasn't covered by insurance, so it was out of pocket, worth every cent. It was non-surgical, and by the end of that month, well, by the very first day, I was out of pain. Okay, we're talking about pain that was so excruciating, I felt like somebody was digging a dagger into my spine and it didn't stop. You know what I'm talking about? So,
Yes.
yep, but after that first day, the pain was gone. I went into his office on a crutch, on a cane, and came out walking, okay, without it, and didn't pick it up again. So that was one day, but it went on for 30 days. And after 30 days, everything was back in where it was in alignment. Now, in my case, the discs, I had basically three discs that the discs were pulverized. Okay, they were all cracked. And so it took a month before they started to heal of this VAX-D therapy. From there, I went to gentle yoga, which is where you're at right now. And after the gentle yoga, I took, and this was all based on the information I was getting from this health practitioner who was brilliant. After the gentle yoga, I took up something called Pilates on the Reformer, REFORMER. It's a reformer. It's a piece of equipment where you lay down on it and it slides back and forth. So you exercise your abs, you exercise your legs, all parts of your back. You exercise your whole body without putting any stress on your back at all. Well, I went back a couple of years ago to have an x-ray taken of my spine. Not only were those discs healed, they were healed as healthy. Yeah, this is supposed to not be possible. They were as healthy as somebody in their 20s, okay? That regimen worked, no surgery. Okay, so maybe this is what you're waiting for, is to find the, up there in Alberta, where can you go to get the treatment, which is going to bring you back to perfect health, because it is possible.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. I actually do own a reformer, and today was the first time in months that I have gotten on it. And anyhow, definitely, I would like to check into what you told me about the other part, just because I'm off balance. I'm definitely, both sides are just, they're not sitting where they should.
Oh yeah. Oh, so yeah. And what the VAX-D does is it sounds like Chinese torture, but it's not. You know those Chinese finger puzzles where you put a finger in each side and the section of the puzzle holds your fingers in? Have you ever played with one of those?
Yes.
Okay.
It gets tight.
Right. Well, that's the principle that VAX-D works on. It treats your back like that Chinese puzzle. And what they do is they put a strap around your upper body and a strap around your hips, and they literally stretch you very slowly. You're on your stomach. It sounds bad, but it's not. They get you there where it doesn't hurt, and they bring you back, and they do that for a half an hour. Each treatment's a half an hour, and they gradually increase the weight and the stress. And meanwhile, it's creating suction inside your spine. So if you've got, like a ruptured disc or anything like that, it realigns the whole spine. It sucks all the material, the matter back into the spine. Lo and behold, it works. And when you're done, and they give you oxygen while you're doing this. So the oxygen goes to that area of the spine to induce healing. I could get into the technology of it. It affects your brain and everything else. It's very, there's a wonderful book. If you go on Amazon and you look up VAX-D, you're going to find a lot of books written by a lot of different authors, and almost any of them will go into a lot of detail and explain it, but I highly, highly, highly recommend it. non-surgical back healing, and it works. Very effective.
Thank you. I definitely will. I will
You're-
check that out.
And you know,
Yes.
let me know. Drop us a line. Let me know how you make out. Okay.
I will for sure. And thank you very much.
And by the way, you're also with your dog grooming. Instead of getting out of the grooming, you may actually move into a different aspect of the grooming, because this chart says that, you know, dog grooming is actually a good place for you to be in. You must love
I
animals.
love. Yes, I couldn't ask for a better job. It's just so hard on my body. So like you said, maybe I'll tweak it into something different.
Yeah.
But it's this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So good luck
Thank
with
you.
everything. You're welcome. And folks, that's all that I have time for this evening. This has been great. Remember, if you've been here with me and you're still here, thank you, thank you, thank you. Bless you all. And drop me a note at either the email address that's on this site or lisasainc@aol.com. And remember, I need your name. First name only is important. And of course, your email to send your question back to. I want to know what you're most grateful for. I want to know your birth date, or if you don't want to include the date, just your sun sign is adequate. And your question. And I will get it back to you somewhere over the next couple of weeks with an answer. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here with me this evening. Please check out my website, sign up for my newsletter, join my community, check out my YouTube channel. I've always got new things going on there. And I'll be back next month on the 23rd, and we can do more Q&A for you. Okay. Love you all. Good night.